Welcome to the Full Force Combat podcast. I'm joined today by fellow Salfordia, Alex Murphy. Super Alex Murphy, how are we doing, man?
Yeah,
no, thanks for coming down. Wanted to get you on after two impressive performances. Both of them didn't go your way, but both was very close. But let's start at the last one first. We'll talk about the present first, then we'll dive back to other stuff. Aqib Fiaz, the fight itself, it was very close. It's kind of a war. Where do you feel like you had the more success in that fight compared to Aqib?
I think the first five or so rounds, I thought I was boxing really well. And then I think, 6 rounds onwards, that's when he started drawing me into an in-close fight, which obviously favoured him. But I thought the first 5 rounds, I boxed beautifully and kept it long, and it was my sort of fight. And then second half of the fight, I suppose, was his. But we get the most success at the start, definitely.
Absolutely, and it was short notice as well, weren't it? How long did you have?
12 days, yeah. Ooh. 12 days notice, so obviously not ideal. We don't live in an ideal world, do we? So
absolutely,
when opportunities like that come, I feel like you've got to take them. I felt good, felt ready. Obviously, you're never going to be 100% ready. Like us boxers used to have in 6, 8, 10 week training camps. Now, like for me, I stay in the gym all year round anyway, so I'm always training, sort of always sparring, staying sharp, just in case stuff like this happens. Yeah. And yeah, obviously, first time really a big fight with short notice, and we took it. And I like to think, I show them that I do stay ready all the time. I'd also like to think 6, 8, 10 weeks time, it would have been a completely different fight because I would have been more prepared, not only physically, but mentally as well. First time I've experienced it where a drop of a hat like that and you've got to mentally switch on to fight. And like 1 minute, you're just sort of like chilling and just ticking over training.
And then the phone rings.
Minute, yeah, you're in a massive fight at the arena and it's like, wow, I think that was the biggest shock. But mate, no regrets. Like, I loved every minute of it and I'd do it again.
Absolutely. It was another beautiful 10 rounds banked, and was touching on short notice. It was off the back of another great performance against Khalil Majid, and he just nicked that fight. You believe that he just nicked that fight. You're not being naive there. But what interests me, Alex, is you stay in the gym all the time. So how strict are you with your own diet, and how much weight did you have to get off in that short space of time off the back of the Majid fight, ready for the Fiaz fight?
Yeah, so I mean, like natural. So the Fiaz fight was it. The Majid fight was it. Super lightweight for 63.5. No, naturally, I never really go that heavy. Like out of camp, I don't diet or anything. I do still eat good, but I'm not on a strict diet. I'll have sort of whatever I want, whenever I want, if I want. I'd say most of the time, I still eat healthy, but weight, I'd probably say, it fluctuates anywhere between 67, 68 out of camp. So obviously the tough thing was when the Fiaz fight come up, it was at lightweight. So, my last fight was at super lightweight, 63.5, and then I had to make lightweight, which was 61.2, which was, obviously on 12 days notice. But after the Majid fight, we had the conversations and we had said we were going to move down to lightweight anyway. So that was, okay. I wanted to go to lightweight. I mean, I didn't want to go in 12 days notice, but it is what it is. So when I weighed myself, I stepped on the scale. After I got the call, I was 68 kilo bang on, and obviously I had to make 61.2. So just over 7 kilos I had to do in 12 days. But I did it comfortably. I think it just shows like how I made it in 12 days. That probably is a way for me going forward. Over now 6, 8, 10 week camps. I'll be able to make lightweight comfortably, and that'll be the way I'll probably stay now and challenge at. Yeah.
Absolutely, and being on 2 massive shows in the 2 biggest arenas in Manchester, and the professionalism you've shown over the last several weeks is surely opening more doors for bigger opportunities now for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I like to think so. Yeah, I feel like presenting yourself well, not only in the ring but outside the ring. Press conferences, like the weigh-ins. Like how professional is it coming in 12 days notice and making championship weight? I'm like, I like to think I am professional. I mean, this is my full-time job, so I've got no excuses, so it should be professional. But I like to think I've conducted myself well and, come across well. And, hopefully it will lead to more opportunities. To be fair, I spoke to Eddie after the fight in the hotel the next day. And, he came up and he said to me, like, it's a close fight, he did well and blah, blah. And then Eddie said, I'll have you back on. So, straight away there, it's opportunities that I think I'll get off the back of the last 2 fights, and I'm open to more big fights. So yeah, happy.
Absolutely, staying ready as always, so you don't have to get ready. Yeah. That's kind of the motto, isn't it? But let's take it back to the beginning now, Alex. You train out of Eccles boxing school, don't you? Have you always been there? Is that the first gym that you ever went to?
No, it wasn't actually. So I started boxing through football, just for the fitness. So I started football when I was 6 years old, and when I was 8, the team I was playing for, one of the lads who was playing in my team, his dad, Paul Priester, he was a boxing coach. So he invited the whole gym down. This is obviously when we were 8 years old, just for a bit of fitness, to supplement, for fitness for the football. And then, so he had a gym in Bolton. So I went down there. It was just once a week, just every Wednesday. I remember Dad used to take me down. And I enjoyed it. It was something I had never done before. I was never interested in boxing, but because obviously the opportunity came up and my dad took me down. I carried on going, I'd say, just once a week. And then that closed when I was 10. And Eccles Boxing School opened like 2 weeks later. And
perfect timing.
Honestly, it's fake. I remember my mum was walking home from work and she seen the flyer in like a window in the Jolly Carter pub it was. Seen the flyer in the window, Eccles Boxing School, like new boxing gym open. And got it. Like she told us, like she got home, told me, my dad, and they were like, "You want to go?" I was like, "Yeah, go on then, I'll go." And that was at the age of 10, and that was Eccles Boxing School. I've been there ever since. I'm 24 now. I've been there for 14 years.
Brilliant. So how many did you fight? You were fought amateur there, didn't you?
Amateur. So I think I had my first amateur fight when I was 12. Obviously, by that, so I started when I was 8. I'd say it was more for fitness, but I was really enjoying it and like getting into it, and I wanted to sort of take it a bit further, get into the sparring. It wasn't at the gym that I was at in Bolton. It was only a small group, so there weren't really the opportunities to get into the sparring. So when I went to Brian when I was 10, I said to him, "I've been doing it for 2 years now, sort of thing, know the basics, but I'd like to go a bit further with it and get into the sparring." And Brian got me into the sparring straight away at the age of 10, and then I had my first fight when I was 12, first amateur fight,
Yeah, so your first sparring session, do you remember it?
So I think I had done a little bit of sparring at the previous gym. It was more so like body sparring.
Yeah, tech and bits, yeah.
And then I think we did do a bit of head sparring, but it was more tech. Whereas then when I went to Brian, and I said, I want to get into sparring. So Brian's son Bailey is one of my mates. He was boxing at the time. He was there, and obviously he was like top dog coaches sort of thing. And he was meant to be fair, Bailey, very good. He don't box anymore, but when he did, he was a real talent. And he was the same age as me, same weight, everything like that. So I got in with him, and he was levels above me. And I remember. So the first session I went, Brian watched me. He said, like, "Oh yeah, we'll have a watch, and if I think you're ready for sparring, then I'll get you in." So I did my first session, and then he said to me, "Yeah, come back tomorrow, and I'll have you sparring." So I was like, "Right, cousin." So I dropped me back off again the next day, and he had me sparring with Baylor, and he just levered me all over. And then I went back again when he was levered me again, and then obviously over time, started getting better, started getting the experience, picking it up, and
it hardens you, doesn't it? It gets you to where you need to be.
Exactly that. And I think that's you can see that sort of in my fights now, and I'm not afraid of getting caught, and you know what, and I can dig in, and when it gets tough, I can dig in. I've shown that, and I think that does all stem from the very start, like turning up to the gym, getting an iron, and then going back again. Like it weren't something that I shied away from. So, I briefly remember it when I was a kid, but obviously it was a long time ago now. But I just remember getting a beating and going back.
So despite the repeated beatings, did it give you the hunger to want to go and compete?
It did, especially because the opportunity was. I think everything is to do with opportunities. Like it's the same with a pro, which I'll come on to about turning over pro. It was more so the opportunity was there. That's how we did it. But I think it was the same with the amateurs. Obviously, I was in the gym like for a couple of years, sparring, learning, improving, and obviously then Brian had like carded boxers like Bailey. He was going out fighting and stuff. So the opportunity. So then Brian had obviously said, like, "Oh, if you want to get into the fights, we can get you carded and you can fight." So I think because the opportunity was there, then it was like, oh yeah, I'll do that and that could go. And it was funny then because I remember my first fight when I was 12. I had Callum Follows, he was called Lee ABC, and I ended up getting beat in my first fight. And I remember it like, this is why experience is so important, because I remember the first round, he leathered me, and then the second round was a bit close, and then the third round I got the better of him, and I ended up losing the fight. It was too late, but I just sort of didn't know what to expect. And again, though, then experience after that, I had more fights and more fights. I got better and better and got more experience, and sort of I'm where I am now. But
absolutely. So, how many amateur fights did you finish on? What was your amateur record in total?
I had 30 amateur fights. I won 15, lost 15, bang on even. And that was from the age of 12 to 20. And like the plan was to have like 50, 60 amateurs and then go pro, but obviously then COVID hit and that's when I turned over. But yeah, in the end, 30 amateur fights and.
Oh, so that would roll me into the next question perfectly. Turning over. So through COVID, how did it all come about and that then? Because things were up in the air, should we say?
It was, yeah. So during the time I was at university, I think I was just on into my third year, studied sports coaching and development at uni. And the plan was, obviously, I went to uni when I was 18, and by that point, me and Brian had already spoke about going pro. But we said, like, well, I'll get my uni out of the way, finish uni, and then after that, then I'll turn pro. And then, obviously, yeah, COVID hit towards the end of my second year, and I was still an amateur at the time. And then, obviously, it went on for a while, didn't it? COVID and lockdown, everything like that. The gyms were short, and I remember Brian ringing me one day, and he just said, "Listen, like, hear me out." He said, before you reply, he said, just let me give you my speech. The first thing he said was, I think we should go pro now. And then he straight away, and he's like, before you say anything, let me just say why. So I didn't say anything. I listened, and he basically just said, listen, he said, nothing's happening with the amateurs. I have no clue when the amateurs is going to come back. It could be a while. He said, and as well, like, the process of getting your pro license is a long process, which it is. You've got to have your medical, you've got to do an interview. Like, it takes a while. He said, so you may as well get it over and done with. He said, and then if you get your license while she's still at uni, you can then just wait until you finish uni and then have your first pro fight. So I heard him out and I thought, you know what, actually, you probably
made sense.
It makes sense, yeah. It makes sense to do that. So yeah, I'd say I was 20 years old at the time, and I said, you know what, yeah, that's a good idea. Go on and we'll do it. So yeah, during like sort of COVID times, I went for my license, did my medical, everything like that, and then got my license. And by that point, I was just finishing my third year. So, but I didn't want to wait. I couldn't wait. So I ended up having 3 pro fights while still being at uni. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you're 13 and 2 now, and I think it was definitely the correct decision.
Yeah.
You fought some good journeymen on the way as well. Jamie Quinn, Christian Navarez. Now everybody in the boxing game knows them names, and they put you in good stead for the last 2 step-ups, definitely, didn't they? But you was doing this while you was at university. So what did you study at uni on?
Sports coaching and development, it was. Yeah.
So you've got a bit, something to back you up.
Yeah. It was more so because I've always I started coaching at the boxing gym when I was 16.
Right.
Obviously still in school. And then I went to a coaching college, studied coaching at college, and then obviously carried on coaching at the gym. And then I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And then the uni pathway was there, and it was like, do I go uni? Do I not? Like, do I get a job? And I thought, I may as well. But then it just bides me another 3 years to figure out what I want to do.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Right, by that point, I was in uni. I just realised that, I want to go pro. And then obviously, people who are in boxing, they understand like the business side of it. As a pro, you've got to then get sponsors, you've got everything like that. So again, at uni, it just bided me a few years to try and get sponsors on board, see if I can obviously I had my coaching business, which I still do now, to try and sort of ramp that up, just so I can do it full time. I didn't have to go get a job, and I did a good job of it in the end. And yeah, I've been full time ever since. So sports coaching and development I studied, and like I say, I still coach now on the side. Yeah,
lovely. Now, growing up in the dirty old town, it's got a bit of a reputation around here, hasn't it? So, would you say boxing's kept you grounded and kept you not away from the madness, but away from the madness? Well, we'll say that.
Say so. I mean,
because it's easy to get drawn in it.
It is, mate, but I feel like I've always had a good head on my shoulders, and I've always been sort of wise for the years, a lot older than than what I am. But I suppose you're right, because, you know, my life, like, especially in school, I suppose that's the age, like, you know, 15, 16, 17. That's the age where you can start going off the rails and get into whatever people get into. But, like, my life was like, I'd go to school, I'd come home, and I'd go to the gym. So, I weren't allowing myself to get into any madness, really.
Structured.
Yeah, it was structured. And because I enjoy doing it, because it's what I wanted to do, like, I weren't missing out on anything, because like, that was the thing that I wanted to do. And yeah, so I managed to avoid it all, and, you know, I stayed on the straight and narrow, and, you know, I'm glad I have done.
But like you said, that age group that you mentioned there, that's the age where a lot of people will drop out or get bored or whatever, do you know what I mean? And then start going out, it's festival season, and you're going freshers at uni and stuff. So yeah, it's good. It is good. And you've got your own business as well. So you have got a very wise head on your shoulders. Now, bit more on the boxing career. We've mentioned hopes for bigger opportunities and your career aspects. You're still only 24 and you've banked 86 rounds. Do you feel like you've got a lot of experience for your young age, Art?
I do, yeah. And especially now after these last two fights, you know, proper big fights on the big stage, big platforms, and against real contenders, you know, like
genuine contenders,
yeah. And they weren't, you know, these two lads weren't the sort of average boxers. You know, the sort of people like I remember listening to an interview with Majid and backing him to like the next world champion. And they are serious fighters. So, I feel like just them two fights alone, I've gained, you know, massive experience from it. And obviously, all the ones prior to that, like building up and just sort of learning stuff about myself. Like, I'm always learning more about myself and about my style and everything like that. So yeah, I'd say I like to think now I am an experienced fighter, but it's still loads to go. You know, you never stop learning, and there's more experience to gain. But like for only 24, I like to think I'm pretty experienced in the age. Yeah,
absolutely. Now the experience of the last two shows, well, the last one in particular, there was a bit of needle with Aqib. Let's just start there. How did the needle all come about? Where did it first start? First point?
Just on that stage, mate, when he grabbed his bro. And
there was nothing nothing. No. So, interesting.
So it shocked me. Like, it was funny that you know, we had the press conference the day before, and we sat down just like this talking, and you know, he had said like, respect to Alex for taking the fight, and he respected me and all that, and I had obviously just hinted at the fact that like he took the Gomez fight instead of me, which is still true. I still stand on that. Like, you know, I got offered the fight six weeks prior to it, and I accepted. And then he took the Gomez fight. But like, one thing I did say is, I said to him, I don't blame you for taking the Gomez fight, because, you know, we called you out on Twitter. There was a bit of beef there. Like,
he was coming off the back of a knockout loss.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, but I said to him, I don't blame you for taking the Gomez fight, but, you know, it still stands. Like, you did take the Gomez fight over me, and that's all I mentioned. So we get on the stage, and bear in mind, like, just before we were walking down to go onto the stage, we were sort of next to each other getting undressed, and nothing was said, and nothing. And then all of a sudden, I get onto the stage, face off, and he goes, "Talk too much, you." So where's this coming from? And that's what I said to him on the stage. I said, "Why are you getting cheeky now?" I said, like, you know, you didn't say anything yesterday. And then sort of put it on him, and I was like, "Oh, what, are you scared? Are you scared?" He was like, "What, you think I'm scared?" And then obviously he couldn't control, but yeah, you know, it's just. Do
you think it was a case of trying to rattle you, because you'd never, only the one fight prior, you'd never been on that stage where he's had it regular on the backing with Eddie? Do you think he was trying to get that upper edge, maybe?
Because, like, I don't think it's come from him. I think he's definitely been told.
It was a little bit out of character, I thought, from Aqib.
Yeah, and everyone said that. Like, I said, I didn't know, I don't know him, but I'd come across him before, and
your boxing circle knows his boxing circle and stuff. It's a small city.
And everyone had said to me, like, "Oh, you know, like when the fight got announced, a few people had said, 'Oh, you're both really nice guys.'" Like, so I had just pictured in my head that he was just, you know, a nice guy, and I still think that now. But obviously, what happened on the stage, I think someone put him up to that and just said, "Listen, like, to see how he reacts," because, like you said, I've never been on that stage before. No one's ever put it on me before, so it's like, technically I could have just melted. I don't know. I suppose you don't know how you react until it happens. Like, looking back at it now, I think I reacted pretty well. I ended it well, and I'm one of them. Me, like, I'm not. I'm not a dickhead. Like I am a nice guy, but you know, if somebody puts it on me, I can stick up for myself as well. So, you know, stuff like that's not going to work with me. You know, I'm fine at dealing with that, and I can give it back as well. So, yeah, and I like to think, you know, when the words exchanged, you know, we sort of realised that I was sort of getting the better of the words and winding up and getting in his head, and then obviously that happened. But I'm glad he did. I said this to him after that. I said, I'm glad you did it because I put me out there in the public eye more, you know, and it started to fight a little bit. So, you know, it's one of them and it's been and gone now. So, it's what it is.
It's been and gone, but would you want to revisit that down the line? Maybe if there was a title on the line? Yeah, was there any title on? There wasn't any title on the line previously, no Commonwealth or silver or nothing like that, was there?
Because obviously he was meant to fight Golden at a catch weight, so
right, yeah.
You know, there couldn't be a title, and then obviously when Golden pulled out and I come in, you know, probably a bit late to get a title on the line. But yeah, mate, 100% I want a rematch title. Somewhere down the line, definitely, and yeah, a title on the line would be nice, even if it's not a title. I'm not really bothered. I'd just like to take the rematch, but whether it'll happen, I don't know. Dude, already talking about him moving down to Super Feather and looking at the British and everything like that. So I don't know, but I'll be pushing for it. I like it. You know, it was a good fight, entertaining fight. So you know, why not have it again? But yeah, we'll see.
I won't say no to it again. So who's your management group, Alex?
So Lee and whole management and fight advisor.
Yeah, so you looked after well there. Lee Eaton's a man of many talents. I'm sure he'll be able to put you off a big opportunity. Yeah. Is that what you're hoping for? And it's just straight back on. You don't want to go back to go forward again now, do you? Now you've had the two back-to-back big experiences, the big arenas. You've got the hunger and the desire for more now.
Yeah, exactly. I think the plan now, really moving forward, is have an 8-rounder. Soonish, maybe October time, against like a good opponent, and I need to be the home fighter all this time. Like I don't want to go in again as the away fighter straight away. I feel like you're always fighting an uphill battle as the away fighter. So yeah, I need to get that confidence back up, get back to winning ways, get an 8-rounder in, a good opponent though, and then and then just go again, then challenge again, and if I have to be the away fighter again, then so be it. But yeah, them big fights, I've experienced them twice now, and I love them, and I feel like I belong there. So yeah, I'd be all for it again.
Absolutely. And while the landscape of boxing is getting bigger and bigger and bigger with the Saudi effect, you want to get your name in the mix, don't you? Would you like to fight in Saudi for the payday? Surely you wouldn't say no to that, would you? A lot of boxers have been like, no, I wouldn't know if I'd fancied it. It's a beautiful country. Yeah. It's hot every day. Yeah. You get well looked after. You get well fed and well paid. Why would you turn that down?
Never turn that down. Okay. So yeah, I mean that seems to be where boxing's going now, isn't it? I mean, my dream is still to fight in Vegas. Like that's like the pinnacle, I think, for me. Like I'd love to fight in Vegas, headline in Vegas. But it seems to be going away now, doesn't it? And it does seem to be going to Saudi. But yeah, like you said, that's where the money is. And at the end of the day, this is why we're all in it.
Fighters.
Yeah, honestly, that jobs. At the end of the day, we need to make money. Otherwise, what's the point in doing it? We're in a dangerous sport. We're not doing it for all that. We're doing it to make good money. So, yeah, if a Saudi fight come up, I'd be taking it. Yeah,
100%. No. You're another one putting Salford on the map. Lewis Wood has recently been winning titles. Mark Leach was the most recent British champion. What's your goals and aspirations? You must have a vision of a title round your waist.
Yeah.
How far and how much do you believe you can get to?
To be honest, I think I can get to the top. I think I'll be a world champion. That's what I set out to be from the very start. And nothing.
Otherwise, what's the point?
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, what's the point in doing it if you don't believe you can get there? Like I just said, it's not a sport you play at. It's a serious sport. So if you didn't think you could get there, then why do it? I think for me now, like the aim first is that I want that British title, and I think I can achieve that in the next year or two. Definitely, I feel like again, you can argue, Khalil and Aki, that they're at British level now, touching British level. So why am I not? You know what I mean? I am. I've just proved it. So I think in the next year or so, I can get that British title, and then you get the British title, then you push on from there. But I'm only 24. What do you box till, 35 maybe? You know what I mean? I've got years and years ahead of me, so I believe I can push on and become a world champion, and that's when I'll retire happy. I'm going to do that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Listen, this is Salford's first world champion since Joe Bowcar, and that was over 100 years ago. So we've mentioned the Saudi effect, and you touched on Vegas, and it sort of moving away from the casinos and stuff now, and it's the big boys in Saudi. What about the other effect, the Jake Paul effect? Does it annoy you? Not so much the misfits, because, well, yeah, more the misfits as well. Jake's put his heart and soul into it, which is good, but it's all well and good when you've got the money to do so. But the misfits thing, and they're all earning big money and stuff, and people are missing out on opportunities, and you've had to do it the hard way, going through what the small law scene. Does it irk you? Does it rub you up the wrong way, that, or does it just not bother you? Do you just accept it?
It did at first. I think it did at first. When it started coming on the scene, I thought, and that's annoying. That, like, yeah, it's like you just said, you know, a lot of them don't box, like, but they don't know how to box. But the boxing and getting all this money, when we're there, we've grafted all our lives. We actually have talent, and we're not really getting paid nothing compared to them. But no, it don't really bother me. No, feel like I don't really see much of it, to be honest. Like whether it's, you know, your algorithms on social media and things like that, like whether it's what you're interested in or what you're not. Obviously, because I'm not interested in, nothing really comes up with it, so I kind of forget about it until somebody mentions it. But another thing, I sort of don't blame them either. Like, it's a business, and it looks into business, and, you know, they're making millions out of it. So why wouldn't you? It'd be stupid not to. And like Tommy Fury, like everyone goes on about Tommy Fury, like, but why would Tommy Fury not do that? You know, like, why? He's actually, you know, he's an actual boxer, and he's getting offered millions to fight non-boxers, or he could get offered a few grand to fight actual boxers. Yeah. No brainer, innit?
Of course it is.
So I don't blame him for that, and and like I say, I don't really blame him for it. But like I say, I don't really see much of it. I don't really hear much of it. I can do your own things.
Absolutely. Now, we mentioned Salford, Manchester, the boxers from round here, Ricky Hatton, Anthony Crolla, Jamie Moore, the names that we've mentioned. Who was your favourite growing up from round here?
I would say Crolla, for that. Yeah.
$1 million.
That was quite funny, me. I didn't, like, obviously I got into boxing when I was 8, but I never really become like
a fan,
fan until like a little bit later, probably till about 16 or so. That's when I started really getting into the boxing, watching it and like really enjoying it. And by then, obviously, like Hatton had, you know, probably retired by then. And but Crolla, I always remember Andy Crolla's, I think it was the last fight. I think it was at Manchester, and I was in Blackpool with the missus, and I said to, and was just walking down like the main strip in Blackpool, and as I was walking down, I looked in the window and there was a pub, and it had the Crolla's fight on. Yeah. Quick, we need to go in here, and I remember sitting down watching it, and I was buzzing watching it, and then like then you fast forward like a few years later, and at that point, Crolla didn't know me. But then you fast forward like a few years, and, you know, Crolla was in my corners at the start of my career. Like the second, third, fourth fight. One of my fights, it was Crolla and Mike Jackson recorded me because Brian was away. So, you know, when you think like that, you know, I was sat in a pub in Blackpool watching him like in awe, like, and then like a few years later, he's in my corner. You know, it is mental. But yeah, he was probably the one who I looked up to the most, and, you know, like now I actually know him. What a nice guy he is. Like, he's proper top. But I'd probably say Ant was my favourite.
Well, they say, a lot of people say Anthony Crolla's like the nicest bloke in boxing. But another name you mentioned there, Mike Jackson, renowned cut man. I see him in your corner all the time. Now, that's the experience like that, as well as coaches, managers, trainers, that goes a long way as well, don't it? So do you like to keep your circle small, Alex, your little fraternity? Do you like to keep it small? Have you not got too many? Because we see, especially with Daniel Dubois this past weekend, there's a lot of people that can be in your corner and be in your head and stuff like that, can't there?
I do. I like to have, you know, the same team really from the very start. Because you do get it, and I've had it, like people trying to jump at the corners, and I've had to turn it down because I don't want people just jumping on now. You know what I mean? Like, the people I've had from the very start, Brian, Mike, you know, they're the ones who have been there for the start, and they'll be here now. You know, now we're getting them a big show. So I like to keep the circle small, and it's best. You don't want all the distractions. Like, you don't want to change your room full of people. You just want the people who you know and trust, and it sort of puts you at ease, because, you know, it's a nerve-wracking thing, and as it is, you know, in the changing room, like you're so nervous. So it's like if you then have all the strangers and all the people who haven't really been there from the start, it wouldn't help in the slightest. So I like to just keep it what I've got now, and it'll stay that way going forward.
Absolutely. People can deny it to themselves, can't they? That it's not a distraction. It doesn't matter if you've got a big entourage, but what Jamaica Dubois this weekend, because it clearly has had an effect. Even if they tell themselves it doesn't, subconsciously it does. And your body just doesn't work correctly.
Yeah, no, it's just a bit mad. I saw a video of it yesterday. I think it was on Twitter, and it was in there's a party on Monday.
Yeah.
And if whether that's been proved to actually be a few hours before the fight, I don't know. But if it was, then it's crazy. That it's crazy. I remember when I first started the pros, and I was on the small wall shows. And obviously I'd get to the venue earlier. And then I'd always, when my mum and dad would get there, and my missus and family and all that, I'd always go down just to see them before they come in. Then I'd go back up to the changing rooms. But obviously, I'd sell hundreds of tickets, and then the people who bought tickets off me, they'd spot me, and then I'd be talking to him, and I'd be talking to him, and I always used to get flustered and be like, I don't have time for this now. I need to go back up and like switch on, speaking to everyone. So I've sort of experienced it firsthand. It does have an effect, and obviously now these shows are fine because in the arenas they've all took the seats, and obviously I get to the venue and I'm just staying in the changing room and I see them after the fight. But yeah, something like the why at that level, and you're in your house with 70, 80 people, however many people it was, surely that's not very many.
No. Apparently it was down to his old man as well, which I just find even more bizarre. But you mentioned your mum and dad and your fans and that then. I've seen you box at Bolton Stadium and you did sell a bucket load of tickets. How much does the support mean to you? And not just your fans as well, the sponsors as well.
Yeah, massive. I mean, the sponsors are a huge part because obviously, financially, they help me box full time. Yeah. If it weren't for them, I'd have to go and get a job, and how hard that would be trying to be a professional boxer with with a job on the side. So they're massive. But again, the support, I couldn't do it without them because, as you know, being put on these shows, the promoters only have you on the show if you can bring money into the show.
If you can sell a ticket,
Exactly. So everybody who's buying tickets off me, they're helping me be on these shows. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You have got good support. It's great to see. It's growing and growing as well.
But you know what I love about them? It's not only the amount of people that come, it's the noise.
Racket. Yeah.
It's just, and it's live with Salford. You
can't beat them.
You expect it. So, and I love that. And I remember it was a bit different with this Fiat fight because I had only sold, I only had 12 days notice. I only sold just over 100 tickets. But
that's still good for 12 days.
But wait, in the G fight, I did just under 300. And I'll never forget me. I walked out and I got into the ring and the announcer was announcing my name and I could hear the chant, the only one Alex Murphy, over the announcer, and it gave me goosebumps in the ring. I thought, that's unreal, that's special. Until without them, it wouldn't be enjoyable either. The reason I do it really is for my family, for me mates to have a good night. I was speaking to one of my mates yesterday, and he was saying to me, he was he was at my last fight, and him and all his mates, they went out, made a full day of it, and he was saying he realised I'll never get to experience that in one of my fights because obviously it's me that's doing it. The day that they have, the build up, the nerves they get, the excitement they get, and the great day what they have, I'll never get to experience that because it's me to come into support. And
you'll not get to experience the feeling, but I've just had a light bulb idea. You should get a group of your best pals to vlog their day, the build up for it, and see what it's like from their angle. Walk from their day, going out early on the booze. And getting into the arena, giving it large.
A great shout out to be honest.
Be good, make some good content. That
it would, because honestly, I always do my vlogs on TikTok and stuff. Of being the fighter, I'd love to see being a support.
Something a bit different. It's good that you've got your small fraternity, your growing massive fan base, and your sponsors that you couldn't do it without. Alex, it's been a pleasure to chat to you, my mate. I am really looking forward to the next step of the journey. Hopefully it's another big, even matchroom opportunity in Queensbury or something in Saudi, Mucka. Don't forget, everybody, we are proudly sponsored by Hez Boxing Equipment. do go and check them out. Thank you very much for tuning in.